When I do comedy shows, I find that when I hear laughter, I'm hearing love, and I'm hearing, even though we may disagree, that's why y'all give me the ooh. But once I make you laugh, now we're agreeing to disagree and have fun with it.
Hey, everybody. On today's Street You Grew Up On, we're so happy to see you. Thank you for joining us again. We are going to talk to one of my faves. He's an incredibly talented guy. He is smart and funny and kind and generous. I really love him. He's an actor, a writer, a comedian, a producer. He is really spectacular. He's also from New York, although he grew up on some different streets from the ones that I grew up on. I'm very happy to be welcoming Marlon Wayans. Marlon, thank you for joining us. I need to know the name of the street you grew up on and the city and state.
I grew up on 16th Street and 9th Avenue in New York City, New York, Fulton Projects. To this day, I love that place. I actually, I'm giving Christmas to the kids there this year at the Fulton Center, and they're naming one of the rooms after my family. And I rebuilt the gym in Chelsea at the Hudson Guild, which was the place I went to Head Start. I think building that gym was probably the best thing I ever did with my money.
So the street you grew up on, your neighborhood was really important to you growing up.
It's all a part of me. It's everything that I am. It's the fabric of my soul. That's the concrete that grew the rose. So I always love that pavement. Always Fulton, Chelsea, ride or die to dad die. I always stay like when I'm in New York. I always stay like in that neighborhood, whether it's at the Maritime Hotel,
adjacent.
Yeah, so I could look at the projects and I feel like I'm at home. I walk through them still. I always feel like I'm at home.
What was the apartment like that you grew up in? How many bedrooms did it have? How many of you were in there? Who lived there?
It was about 1,000 square feet, maybe 1,200 square feet, but it was 4 bedrooms.
Wow.
It actually probably maybe 2,000 square feet. 4 bedrooms. My mom and dad shared different bedrooms, so the 5 boys and 5 girls would be in the back room together, and my mom and dad.
All together.
Yeah. Because my mom was like,
wow.
My dad was too fertile. She's like, and he got on her nerves, and she didn't like the way his feet smelled. So she's like, you sleep over there, and I'm sleep over here. And then we had bunk beds, me and my brothers and sisters. So it was like 5 of us to a room.
And what was the home like? Was there a lot of music? What kind of food was in the house?
My mother was classy. We were poor, but she was classy. So we had linoleum floors, but my mother made sure that they looked like wood. So we had wood linoleum floors, and we had a lot of doilies and very what's the name of that? Very Jezebels.
I remember
Yeah,
Jezebels.
soul food restaurant. That was my mom's kind of taste and flavor, just like Southern comfort and plastic slip covers on the couches. Everybody had a kitchen drawer with a bunch of nothing in it, just stuff. A place you throw.
You had
everything.
your own drawer assigned to you?
No, it was called the kitchen drawer, and in that drawer was everything. That's where you hid everything: wires, batteries, change, safety pins. Everything was in the junk drawer. And then we had a hall closet that was locked, and sometimes my brothers would lock me in there. My brother Sean would lock me in there. My sisters would lock us in there, and it had like just junk in there. And we used to play hide and go seek and be in there. We had mismatched plates and like one fork between like 10 people. We have like 3 forks. Don't mind a knife. You better use your teeth to cut your steak if we had steak. And we had jelly jars for glasses.
Oh, okay. What was the best thing about having that many siblings, and what was the worst thing about having that many siblings?
The worst thing is sharing a home with that many people when you have not that much resources,
How many bathrooms?
like toilet paper would go like that. So we used newspaper too. One had a tub and the other one was just a sink and a toilet. Toothpaste, we have to cut it open after it was all done. We cut it open
Squeeze
and get the
out.
flavor of it, you know. Um, it was tough, man. The hardest part is, you know, just having that many people. It's kind of uncomfortable and it was
Mm,
crowded, but the benefit was there was always so much love and so much fun, and
mm,
there was always an adventure, and it was never boring, and we always had each other to lean on, and always had each other
mm,
to make jokes, and it was beautiful. And I'm so happy that my mom and my dad gave us so many siblings because I lost my mom last year, and there's nothing greater than having all those siblings to lean on. And my siblings have
mm,
so many children. Like I just did a show in Vegas and I flew 25 of my nephews and nieces out to the show and my
mm,
kids because I wanted them all to get together. I wanted them all to hang out. I wanted them all to know that they had each other and that they're now young men and young women. They're not babies anymore. And they're going to have to
mm,
start contributing to the family. I'm not saying with money, but with time, with effort, because
mm,
with this legacy that we have, we can't let it just be about what your forefathers did. Me and my brothers did everything we
mm,
could. And now they're supposed to chill and rest. And we got to pick up that torch and we got to do the work until we're ready to chill and rest.
mm. Are you kind of the in-between generation person since you're one
Absolutely.
of the
I'm the
younger
linchpin.
siblings? Yeah.
I'm the baby
Mm,
of my generation, and my nephew
yeah.
Craig is 3.5 years younger than me, and
Mm.
so we start that next generation. He was raised in my house with me, pretty much, because my sister had him when she was like 16.
Tell me how the street, like, did you play together on the street? Was there a park? Was there like what did it look like, your street? Were there stores?
Well, we used to play in the middle, and that's where and it had a turtle, a cement turtle, and a cement whale. And we know when you pour, you make up games. So that was supposed to be where we played, and we played baseball in that park, and then we played stickball on the side walls. And my buddies own Catch Steak, which is right across the street from my projects, and the
Yeah.
Maritime Building. If you hit a ball across the street onto the Maritime Building, where Catch Steak is, that was a home run. So every time I eat at Cat Steak, I look at my projects and just remember the times I used to get home runs. And then we used to play in the grass, tackle football, and all the elderly people get mad at us because we'd be messing up the grass. And they go, get off the grass. And we was like, I'm not going to play on the concrete and bust my head open again. So, you know, we were lucky. My mother used to always tell us to stay in the middle. And my mother had black elbows because she used to sit on the windowsill for hours and watch her kids play. And
Mm.
sometimes you'd be getting in trouble. You go, Marlon, don't do that. Sean, get down off that gate. Damon, don't you bite him.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What are some of your memories of your mom in that first apartment on the street you grew up on? I love the image of her sitting in the window and watching you guys in the middle. What else do you remember about her in that space?
My mother was love. My mother, I could always go to her and get the best hugs, the best kisses. Always told me how great I could be, how great I was when I listened. And when I didn't, she cursed me out. But, which as she should. My mother loved people to listen. She didn't want us to make mistakes, and she was all about education. And she was an artist herself, but she didn't want us to be artists because she didn't want
Mm.
us to have that heartbreak. And once we started doing it, and she saw that we had it, once she supported and she seen that we had the goods, she was nothing but supportive.
What kind of artist was she?
Singer.
Oh, wow. Did
Sometimes
she
act.
sing a lot
She
in the
tried to
house? Was
act, but
there
she was
was there
terrible. I
was there music in the house? Were you guys a
Oh,
singing
she loved
family?
music. My mother introduced us to Motown and, Sam Cooke and, one of her favorite songs, Nat King Cole and Sam Cooke did, which was These Foolish Things Remind Me of You. Like my mother loved like
Mm,
jazz and Coltrane and, and
mm,
then she liked the new music, back then it wasn't even Gregory Abbott's Shake It Down. She was romantic. And she loved Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye, loved Luther Vandross, and she thought Freddie Jackson, she loved him too, but she was like, he's a ripoff of Luther. Ain't nobody better than Luther. And she taught us about Stevie Wonder and introduced us to the Jacksons, of which my family used to watch. The Jacksons, the Silvers, the DeBarges, and being in the Wall of the Projects, we used to go there. I don't know how much those families know how much they meant to my family, because we used to watch them and go, we want to be like them, but with comedy.
Wow. That's exactly what you guys became. Wow. How did you know? When did you know you had talent? When was there a point where you knew you could act, where you were funny?
I was actually very shy when I was like 4, 5, really shy. When I first went to like preschool and when I went to kindergarten, I was really shy in kindergarten. And then once I found my friends, I started fighting. And then I started talking nonsense to people and snapping on people, because that became my self-defense. It's to be extremely funny, and then nobody wants to mess with you. So a lot of times they'd be like, oh, leave them all alone, leave them all alone. And they would pick on Sean. And then Sean got really funny, and he used to fight because he got angry. And so they would never pick on me, they'd pick on Sean. And then at a point, if Sean got into a fight, I was jumping in. You don't fight one Wayans, you fight them all. And so, but as a kid, I knew when I used to make my mother laugh, and then my brothers would come home from Los Angeles, and me and Sean would have like sketches for them, or jokes that we worked out, or movie ideas or something. We was always pitching them something. And my mother would just laugh, and my brothers would laugh. And me and Sean, we always had something we was cooking. And my brothers were very nurturing, Keenan and Damon, when it came to, our talent. And I think when I did Peter Pan in the 2nd grade, that's when I knew I wanted to be an actor. And by the 4th grade,
Who did you play?
Peter Pan, of course.
Of course. Why did I even ask?
That's
Why
all.
did I
If
ask?
I'm not the star, I wasn't going to do it.
Where does that come from? Where did you learn to be able to dream differently and have a voice at such a young age? And still now, you're such an independent force within this business.
Um, I think my mom, my dad, and my big brothers. My big brothers often, and I was raised in Black Hollywood. You know what I mean? And when you talk about Black excellence and the Black Pack, I'm raised in comedy clubs. Robert Townsend was like a big brother to me. You know, who started the second revolution for Black films, like for us to dip. I was hanging out with those guys. Eddie Murphy. I was at Eddie's house. Eddie Murphy came to my project. Eddie Murphy was like a big brother to me. Chris Rock was like a big brother to me. All these guys I grew up with. You know what I mean? It's like I met Isaac Hayes, and I was on the set of I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and I met Whitney Houston when I grew up around this, so it was nothing for me to go do it. I always had the confidence, and my brother taught us to dream with no ceilings. He said, and don't let them put the black hat on you. I want you to take that cap off that they try and twist on your head. And I want your dreams to go outside this yourself, outside this world, outside of any barriers that people try and put on you, outside your skin color. I want you to dream and dream big. You can play anything from a alien to a superhero to whatever you want. You don't just have to play a gang member or a slave. And that's how we was taught. And that's how we always try to write. We wrote so much that we flipped it on them. Slave, nah, I'm gonna play white. How about that? I'm gonna play a white woman.
Which is so incredible. Okay, so is there anything from that first street you grew up on, 9th Avenue, 16th Street, Fulton Projects? Is there anything from your childhood that you miss that you would want to bring into your life today?
Everything. Everything. Just I miss the characters. My family, we had a pool of a well of characters. Like In Living Color was everybody in our neighborhood, everybody in our family. All those the junkies and the winos and there's always the, the derelicts that we was like, yo, there's something funny in this. Which is we're crazy people. But we always found humor in the darkest places, and that's what my family recipe is. I miss the way that, I love that a lot of times we were at odds. Sometimes I would fight my best friend, and then the next day we'd make up and be better friends. Like, who says we always got to get along? Who says that, I mean, people act like you fight and that's the end. No. Why are you fighting? You're fighting to get on the same page. You're fighting because you disagree. You're fighting half the time
you
because you
care.
want to love each other. And I'm so mad you don't agree with me, but let's have this fight. And now in this space, we can talk better and we can communicate because we got all that anger out our system. But in the meantime, you're working.
So you miss that conflict. You miss that safety of being able to fight and.
I miss when we had no social media. I miss when kids played in the playground. I miss when, the adventure was walking 3 blocks to go play softball in a bigger park. I miss the mischief of not crime, but maybe a breaking and entering. I miss, what I mean? I miss how I used to find Mad magazines on the street because the Mad magazine factory was right down the block, and I would find these Mad magazines, and me and my brother would sit there, and they're parody magazines. That's what we learned parody from Mad magazine. When I do comedy shows, I find that when I hear laughter, I'm hearing love, and I'm hearing, even though we may disagree, that's why y'all give me the ooh. But once I make you laugh, now we're agreeing to disagree and have fun with it. And that's the beauty of what we do. And I miss the safety of those walls. Like, there is no wrong on my block. You can be you and you're not judged. Like, growing up, man, we grew up with gay kids. We grew up with kids that was trying to find themselves, like transgender. We didn't understand it back then. We didn't know what it was, but we grew up around that. You know what I'm saying? And then, it was in our families. It was always always had somebody gay in their family. We didn't know what it was. Half the time we made fun of it, but that was our brother. That was our family. You know what I mean?
Still love.
Yeah. Like, we always love, man. And I miss that. I don't like this new world order. I don't agree with it because it's not love. It's nonsense.
Okay, I only have 2 more questions. The first one is your sexy alter ego. It's your porn name is the name of the street you grew up on and the name of your first pet. But it's your first pet first. Did you guys have any pets?
In the projects? No, my sister brought home this one dog. And my mother said, if you don't get that, the dog had red eyes. If you don't get that damn red-eyed dog out this house, I could barely feed you. What the F I'm going to do with a dog? I forgot that dog's name.
Did it have a name?
I forgot.
Did it have a name or no?
I forgot.
Okay, so at one point, did you get a pet?
I got my kids a dog.
When you moved to New Rochelle?
No, my kids, my first pet was Shiloh. It was my kids, Shiloh. That's my kid's dog. He's I think Shiloh's like 16 now. He's still hanging in there. He's blind, but he's my baby. He's my little son. So Shiloh. So Shiloh 16.
So what should your name? Is it 16th? Shiloh 16? Okay.
Or 9th Avenue.
That's good,
Shallow 9.
16 could be
or Shallow 9.
Shallow 9. I feel like for the sex industry, Shiloh 16 is
I don't
probably
know.
the way to go.
But if you go Shiloh 16, nobody's gonna click on that. No couple's gonna be like, let's watch Shiloh 16. You have to watch that without your husband.
All right. Thank you so much, Marlon. I love talking to you about the street you grew up on. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
I love you, girl.
Oh, that was so good. It was so much fun. I knew that talking to Marlon would be so fun and also thought-provoking. So thank you for joining us on Street You Grew Up On. Thank you for being a part of this community. Please continue to let us know in the comments who you want to hear from, what streets you want to walk down, and make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the notification button. We're just so happy to see you and hope to see you again soon.